All right, we're gonna, this is recording. Before the meeting starts, I just want to indicate that, at the Springtown meeting last year, there was a warrant article to record, meetings of town boards and committees. We're technically on one side of the town board and committee, but, we're investigating, the board is considering recording meetings. So, you know, we want to tell everyone in this room, the meeting is being recorded. It's being recorded on a test basis. We want to understand this equipment and how we do it all. So we had decided on this, at, I think, the last meeting. So I just want to make sure everyone is aware, and recording my announcement to you, that it's being recorded.
Okay.
So you've been officially told that it's been recorded.
Does there have to be any, if anybody else is reporting or taking video, do you need to know about it?
That's correct. Well, we're a two-party state, so both the person reporting and the person being recorded have to both give their authorization and consent. And any violation, that's a violation of the wiretap law, and it's a felony, and it's a substantial fine and prison term. So yes, the answer to your question is if anyone in this room is also recording, they need to let people know.
Can I just speak on that?
Right.
So when it comes to public meetings, the attendees are allowed to record an open meeting log with the consent of the chair. Just so that the
And what are you doing?
Dina Favreau.
Sorry?
Yeah, I didn't recognize you with my hat on. So the wiretapping law doesn't apply to open meetings.
Oh, it's interesting. I learned something. I guess our attorney was incorrect. But anyway, it's up to the chair if you want to allow recording. Could you let people know?
If people want to record. We got it, this is Jose announcement.
Okay, so someone wants to record it. He's got no objection. So everyone understands that. Now you can start the meeting. I understand the other two are on their way. So we have a quorum, so.
Yeah, folks, we just wait, we have two more members, they're running just a few minutes late, but they should be here very shortly.
Oh, right.
Here's the water. Take the water.
Take a minute,
Yeah, with the approval of the chair.
With the approval.
And but there are some restrictions of not violating, you know, causing a disruption of the meeting.
Right.
To this issue.
Can I just ask a question? People that live here under protected class, does it affect, videos being put on Facebook of them because for residents where it's housing,
John, what's
people who are protected class? Does it affect that, if not open mic, but what about videos, if people are being videotaped? If they're in disability, elderly, I mean, town meeting, open meetings don't matter. But I would think that housing and residents being listed by name or by face would be, I don't know if that's a different circumstance.
For protected classes, not, I mean, it's a separate subset of laws, but recording open meetings is governed by open meeting law, and so long as you have the permission of the chair in a public meeting, in a public setting, just like if we were outside, you can be recording.
May I add something to that? Here's the saying. I've been. The place I went to, when I first came here, he told us a list of all the houses we own. And I was so hard to do that.
Oh, hi, honey.
But
Keep standing, because we're gonna have to tell people.
All right.
the expectation of privacy, so when you're in public, there's really no expectation for that.
Folks, we're gonna do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're gonna move one thing out of order first. We're gonna do the reorganization of the board first, and then we'll do open mic. So, okay, do we have any nominations?
Mr. Chairman, I'll nominate, Mr. Sonia for chairman.
Do we have a second?
Second.
It's been moved in second for chairman, John Sawyer. All those in favor? Aye. All right, unanimous. For vice chair, do we have any nominations?
I will nominate Mr. O'Donnell.
Second. It's been moved in second. All those in favor, anybody else, any other nominations, excuse me? No, all those in favor? Aye. Unanimous. Treasurer.
Oh, I'll nominate Maria Wall. She's done such a great job. with it. Get all the money
Second.
together. Yeah.
Moved in second. Any other? All right, so Marie's been moved in second. All those in favor? Aye. Unanimous. What do we got? Bob, do we have assistant? Yeah, so. You wanna be, so you wanna do Kathy?
Sure.
All right.
Seeing how women have been running it really well,
So,
I'll nominate, Kathy.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
do we have a second? All right, it's been moved in second. All those in favor of Kathy?
I didn't hear the name. Kathy, what?
Motion.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
All right. All those in favor?
aye.
Okay. That's it. The board is reorganized.
Can I just say something?
No, it's all yours.
I just want, Mr. Chairman, can you say something quickly?
Absolutely.
Personally, I'd just like to take the time to thank, former Chairman Conway. Over the years, he's, stuck his neck and time and effort out to not only being a chairman, doing a hell of a job, but also being members of CTI along with the manager and surely keeping us up abreast of what's going on and what isn't when it comes to elderly housing and housing throughout the Merrimack Valley. But again, thank you, Marty.
Thank you.
All right, open mic. Deb Beal,
Can I speak from here, or do I need to go out there?
I think you're fine as
What
long
was
as.
that?
Yeah, that's.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I requested to speak here today because I want you and the tenants to know the truth about things happening. I believe in truth, and I feel the tenants have a right to hear the truth. My intent is not to throw anybody under the bus. I will present the facts and let you decide for yourself. Too many things are being swept under the rug, and the can is being kicked down the road. There were 3 significant incidents in the last year that were handled in an untruthful way. With me, this is just another example. You stated, the board, in previous meetings, where tenants have come before you with concerns that you do not get involved in day-to-day BHA issues. It seems you have opened the door for discussion by reviewing and approving a memo the executive director presented to you in the March 14, 2024 Board of Commissioners meeting. What I have to share is really nobody's business, but I feel I have to speak, especially if it keeps someone else from going through what I've been going through for the past 3.5 months. I can only surmise this is part of the reason why the executive director requested that the board review and approve a memo concerning porches and patios. The executive director asked you to approve a memorandum that is not in agreement with the lease. You voted in favor of and approved this memorandum regarding porches and patios, despite what the lease says. For the last 3.5 months, I have been harassed and even stalked by the executive director. Presently, I am involved in a situation regarding my tenancy with the BHA. In the complaint against me, it says I did not comply with obligations set forth in my lease. This is not true. I want to read from the lease. To keep the dwelling unit and other such areas as may be assigned to the tenant for exclusive use in clean and safe condition. This includes
includes keeping front and rear entrances and walkways for the exclusive use of the tenant, free from hazards and trash, and keeping the yard free of debris and litter. Exceptions to this requirement may be made for tenants who have no household members unable to perform such tasks because of age or disability. I live on the second floor. I do not have, front and rear entrances or walkways and, trash in my yard. I don't have a yard. Okay, the second one is, and the lease says, excuse me, porches front and rear should be clean and free of hazards. Any item stored on the porch shall not impede access to the unit. I met with the executive director's attorney on January 26th at his office to discuss this matter. I explained that I had contacted the fire department regarding my situation, and a captain from the fire department came to my apartment and assessed the situation. The captain said that the bins, which are approximately 18 feet wide by 6 feet, that were on my porch did not interfere with any emergency situation that may occur. The building commissioner stated that at 16 River Street, second floor porches have been deemed an area of refuge by the building commissioner, and accordingly must have a sufficiently clear area in the event of an emergency. Okay, they do, what I had on the porch did not obstruct with the ingress and egress of the unit. I also asked if he felt the bins would blow off the porch in winds and injure someone. The bins weigh 15 to 20 pounds. He said it would have to be a pretty strong wind to blow the bins off the porch. Besides, there's a ramp. The attorney admonished me, stating that the Bill River Fire Department has no right to interfere in BHA business. The fire department did not interfere with BHA business. I contacted them as I felt they are qualified to assess the situation and give a fair and honest answer. In the letter sent to me by the attorney, it stated all units in the complex, 79 out of 80, complied with the memo. I was the only one that refused. That is not true. The letter stated that I refused to meet with the executive. Not true. Because of the way the executive director treats me and speaks to me, I offered other options of communication. I would like to read from the release again. To act in a cooperative manner with neighbors and PHA staff, to refrain from and cause members of tenants' households or guests to refrain from acting or speaking in an abusive or threatening manner toward neighbors and PHA staff. Regarding the bids on the porch, I provided the attorney with examples of 4 other units out of the more than 10 who had not complied with the memorandum. After I left the attorney's office, the tenants were notified that someone had complained about the fact that they had things on their porches. That is not true. I was not complaining. I was stating a fact in response to an accusation made against me that they said everybody else complied with. That is not a complaint. There were at least 10 other units in the 16th Street complex that have not been in compliance with this memo since November 1st. I don't believe any of them received legal notices regarding termination of their leases or violations. I sent a letter to the executive director on February 4th, 2024, requesting that we settle the matter amicably and move on. He did not respond to me until February 21st, 2024, when I was again served by the constable with it for the second time regarding termination of my lease and a 30-day notice to quit. On March 2nd, 2024, a memo dated February 28th, 2024, regarding clarification of porch policy and common area policy was delivered to the units. Some of the tenants complied, Others were browbeaten into complying or sent letters, and some ignored it. I got the memo, we've all seen the memo. On March 14, 2024, the Board of Commissioners meeting, the Executive Director requested the board review and approve a porch policy, which was reviewed and approved. In the memo, it states no exceptions. Yet at the very end of the memo, it states decorative trees may be displayed or hung on apartment doors. Is that what no exceptions mean? I respectfully request from the Board of Commissioners the following. I have not heard anything about my case from anybody since I received the letter dated February 21st, 2024. I request that the executive director stop this frivolous litigation being brought against me, and that I receive a letter from his attorney stating this case is dismissed with prejudice. Secondly, I also request that the executive director is to stop harassing me, not approach me or have any communication with me except in writing, with one exception. The one exception is that in a tenant meeting, he will respond adequately to my questions with satisfactory answers in front of the tenant present, so they will hear his answer. The usual answers we get from him are, you can't fix stupid, call the police, submit a work order, or come to my office. Those are not suitable or acceptable answers. I don't know about the rest of you, but I've had enough. It's time to stop all this. This is where I live. This is where you live. Those who do the right thing are constantly being belittled and threatened with disrespect and unfairness. Those who do whatever they want, get away with everything, and are seemingly rewarded. Now that you know the truth, you decide for yourself whether or not it is okay for the executive director to evict the tenant who is not violating the lease. Those of you who have been victims of the executive director's verbal abuse and retaliation, I am so sorry that you had to endure that. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Commissioner O'Donnell.
can I make a, well, this is only for information, but can I ask through you that the information she has, that we can obtain her presentation here, so we can go over it and look.
Is that possible? Get a copy of your letter that you have.
I have to change it up a little bit, yeah, took some things out, but I would be happy to submit it.
Very good.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anything else? Bob, I guess this is current litigation.
Well, I'm reluctant to really respond for a number of reasons. It was
Can
confidential.
I just interrupt you?
I'm sorry?
Can I interrupt for a second?
Go ahead.
This is open mic.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
No, we're accepting the comments, and all due respect to you, but, no, I'm just saying is that this is, it's not on the agenda for us to have discussions, that's to
Right.
take it in and then respond back.
Very good.
Yeah,
So,
but
That would be part of the, obviously, when we get the information.
very good. All right, moving on.
excuse me, Mr. Chairman, but on the bottom it says topics for discussion which the chair could not have reasonably anticipated 48 hours.
Not open mic.
That doesn't cover open mic.
No, it's not made committee other than.
We can't hear, sir.
Excuse me?
We can't hear.
Oh, she just asked in the bottom if we have any correspondence there, but before it's, what do you call it?
For the time we get our packet, to the time.
But
meeting of-
open mic,
we
just
get
so
back.
everybody understands, whether it's here or any other committee, excuse me, just, can I finish? Yeah. And it's through the chair, not me, but, open mic that I've been involved, we'll accept it. We'll look it over there, by all means, you've presented tonight and respond back to it, give us
I
time
appreciate
to.
that. Thank you very
Okay,
much. Thank you for your consideration.
Very good. Okay, next is, yes,
Now, in reference to that subject there, are other people allowed to send in letters with hers on things that have happened here?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
And if you'd like to address it to me as the chair,
yeah,
you can.
They said before that they don't take complaints against these staff.
Who doesn't take complaints against this staff?
I never
Mike
said,
Conway there, those are words out of his mouth.
I never said that, but
No,
Those were the words out of his mouth at one of the previous meetings when I had a problem with Mr. Correnti. When I was threatened,
I think in that particular, if my memory serves me, you were bringing up something that was a criminal complaint, and that's what Mr. Conway was
that's
commenting
right.
on. Okay. But yes, you can write your concerns to me if you'd like. Luma Tacos, is that's that right?
Yeah,
You're
that's
up
right.
next.
Yeah. I just wanted to, welcome Kathy to the board. Yeah. Nice to have one of our own up there. As far as the executive director and the board, I have to tell you something. I think you're doing a great job. All right, I have absolutely zero complaints. I'm thrilled to live in such a nice place. It's, every time you go to talk to somebody in the office, I don't know how they do it, but they smile every time they talk to you. You know, yeah, I just wanted to get that off my chest.
Thank you very much. All right, that completes open mic. Let's see, minutes for the March 14th, 2024 meeting.
You could just skip.
Yeah.
Did I do?
I'll make it, no, she wasn't on the board.
Oh.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of March 14th, 2024.
Second.
There's a motion and a second, all in favor?
Opposed, not opposed, excuse me, I'm one abstention.
Bob, 4 yes, no, nays,
We want to abstain.
and 1 abstain. Correspondence, Bob, letter to former Commissioner Parker.
The first is, a letter to former Commissioner Parker, dear Commissioner Parker, on behalf of the Board of Housing Authority Board of Commissioners and its residents, I'm ready to express our appreciation and gratitude for your 5 years of service. As a Housing Authority Commissioner, you've given of your time and effort to make a difference in our community. As your term is at an end, we wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors. And that was, communication was sent by, Chair Conway. The next was, the last meeting was the hearing for the annual plan. And as a result of that, we had to close the loop and send to, Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities. Notation, and it says the FY 2025 annual plan hearing was duly and properly posted. The public hearing was held at 4 p.m. on Thursday, March 13th, 2024, in the 16 River Street Common Room. There were no comments submitted by mail to the Board of Housing Authority. There were no written comments submitted to the Board of Housing Authority. There were no reasonable accommodation requests submitted to the Board of Housing Authority. The Board of Housing Authority does not have a tenant organization. The Board of Housing Authority received no resident or general public comments at the public hearing. After the close of the public hearing, the Board of Commissioners approved the FY 2025 annual plan as submitted and authorized its submittal to EOHLC. That level. And the last, we mentioned it at the thing, last meeting in March, and we'll cover it in the executive office, director's report, but it's a letter to Mr. and Mrs. Joseph Gaudette. And if you were here or don't know, that was the parents of Maureen, Argy. It was Maureen Gaudette Argy. It was a resident service coordinator, who was, murdered by her husband. He was convicted of murder. So on behalf of the Billerica Housing Authority Board of Commissioners and all our residents, thank you for your generous donation in memory of Maureen Gaudette Argy. Maureen was loved and respected by her co-workers and our residents. Her care and compassion were clearly evident and truly made a difference in the lives of many residents. She continues to be missed. Over the next month or so, we will be reviewing the possible uses of your donation. Once a potential final decision has been made, I will discuss it with you. Certainly, we seek to maximize its benefit for all residents. Again, thank you, and it's signed by me. Just so you want his background, I think last year they made a contribution $1,500 to, HDAN. And it was used, as folks know, at all three properties. This year, they provided a check to the housing authority for $1,000 donation, and we'll cover that over very well.
Okay. Investment accounts, Bob.
Yes, sir, the account you have the report that shows we have, in 12 accounts, 3.807, 342.20, cash, so that's $3,807,342. And you have the breakdown, and as everyone is aware, the funds, for example, with, the 667-2, which is 16 River Street, is 2.558947, so $2.5 million. Those funds can only be used at 16 River Street, they cannot be used anywhere else. And the other pages are summary each month since 2015. And so on April 1st, balance increased over the previous month by $205,818, which is almost a 6% increase. And as we've said before, it can be swings month to month depending on, expenditures that come up. And I believe it's put on file.
Yes. And, payment of bills for March 1st to March 31st.
Yes, they submitted, you have that, it shows, the bills that were paid of March were $118,534.53. Do you want to answer any questions that anyone might have?
Yeah,
The bills?
sure, Commissioner.
I have a question on Markham LLP for $5,250. What's that for, Bob?
Where is it?
313 Markham LLP.
Oh, they're the auditors that are required by law, they conduct what's called an AUP, agreed upon procedures, and they come in and they do an audit. And, the result, I think, the total of WD, I think, maybe it's what? 11,000, 20,000? 20,000, it's pretty steep. We're required to do it, and this report had no findings whatsoever. So I think that's important for everyone to realize that there were no findings. Usually there's always something that you didn't file this properly or whatever. There were no findings, but Markham is the group.
Okay, thank you.
Nothing, any other questions?
No, that's it.
Having said that, if someone wasn't on
Yeah, I'll make a motion that, we pay the amount of, $118,534.53 for the bills from, March 1st to March 31st, 2024.
second. I have a motion and a second, all in favor,
Aye.
opposed? Marty,
Second,
Marty,
none? Section 8 voucher payments, it's a new program utilized by, Dedham. Since we have a lot of the usual crowd here, Dedham Housing Authority manages the Section 8 voucher program for Billerica. What would be asking for is your vote to approve the $83,871.80 for, April's, housing assistance plan, vouchers, those are the Section 8 vouchers. Page 2 is fairly standard now, as you can see, there were tenant fraud repayments, people didn't declare income, and then thought, so now they have to pay some money back. And up top, that category, landlord repayment, there were payments made, because Dedham was not aware that the tenant had moved out, no one had notified him. So they paid the landlord, and the landlord is now paying those funds back. So that's basically it, you just do give a motion to approve the 83,871.
Just a comment, Mr. Chairman. Are you happy that we did this?
Does that,
It worked out well that we
Yeah.
went with Dedham.
Oh, absolutely,
It was.
absolutely.
It was a good
I
decision.
think Debbie's here, she'd probably say the
Yeah,
same thing for
Debbie.
you. Yeah,
It was a good deal.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, I mean, in essence, it's being reported, we're getting 40% of our administrative fees, and we're not. going
Doing any
through all that
work.
stuff, doing any work.
Okay.
It's well,
So it was,
and it's a very, very involved program. You have to really devote a lot of time to it. And a number of housing authorities, we've said it before, I'll say it quickly, small like us, just don't have the width
yeah,
to do them. And Dedham has found a niche market where they're doing it for other people. And their efforts and their work have us categorized as a high performer. So,
very
which
good.
is good, so we've done well, so answers your
Thank you.
motion.
I'll make a motion to approve payments of, section 8 to, Dedham for $83,871.80.
Second.
There's a motion and a second from Martin Conway. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Next is the accountant's report,
Martin.
from March 31st. March 31st, and if you turn to the third page. We've highlighted this before. Go through everything with the board, but to give the board the synopsis and high level overview, you can see at the bottom there, it's got 42.85%, which is the percentage of revenue must be held, or is held aside. The general rule of thumb, as you've heard me say before, is it has to be 35%. Falling below the 35% mark causes a lot of angst and difficulty with the state. So we're at 42%, so we're in an we're in a good position there. And then you keep coming along a few pages, you'll get to another one, which says 434.2%, that's 16 River Street. I told you earlier about the amount of funds on hand, so that's why it's a very high percentage. Yeah, it's a totally different program. So quickly, I'll be happy to answer any questions if I can. But, you know, I think it's a sound financial position. Housing authority has always been in a sound financial position, and we continue to be in a sound financial position. And like I said earlier, Markham came in and found absolutely no findings, so I think it's reassuring to the board, because you're ultimately responsible from a fiduciary point of view for the board.
Any comments?
No.
Place on file, Bob?
Yeah.
Payroll report.
Speak for itself, you have the payroll report for the month of March. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions, and the board has to vote to approve it. And you will see a change that can be made at the discretion of the executive director next month. Where at the bottom of that first page, it says on call, $200. That's the stipend that's provided to maintenance individual for being on call for that week. This past year, their wages are determined by the Department of Labor, and the Department of Labor went up, I think it was 1.7%. And, you know, cost of living on Social Security was 3.2, was it?
3.2.
So, you know, I think it fell short. There's not much of a chance you can get them to change that. This is a statewide deal. But what we did was we're increasing the on-call as of April 1st to $250 for that period of time. It certainly doesn't compensate a maintenance person for the difference from 1.7 to 3.2. But I think at least it shows some appreciation for their work, number one, and, you know, try to show some recognition of it. You know. And so that's what it is, and we require a vote.
Yes. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the payroll report that started on March 7th, 2024, and ended on March 14th. No, excuse me, no, ended up on March 28th, 2024.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
The last, these reports is the vacancy report as of April 1st, and It showed on April first, a vacancy at 13 River Street. The lease was signed this week, so, you know, as of today, there are no vacancies.
It's 100% across the board.
Sorry?
It's 100% across the board.
100% across the board.
Very good.
That will change next month. There were some things, you know,
Yep.
happening, but I think it's just put on file.
Place, yep, and the executive director's report, anything that we haven't covered already, Bob?
Yes,
Wait a second, I
really
haven't read.
quickly for the people that are here that don't have a copy of it, and I can expand on the one, is that, under administrative actions or in housing clerk or 1667-2 resident, police violations, and a 705 resident, that's the house, unpaid rent. Smoking, we had one documented, verbal warning for violation. Under rent, I know, Commissioner, O'Rourke had asked at the previous meeting, we continue referring residents with delinquent rent, to RAF, that's the, program through community teamwork for residents in transition. And we entered into a payment plan for 1667-2 resident. 667-2 is here, 667-1 is across the street, that was the first one built. This was the second one in the setting, so it's 667-2, and the Talbot is 667-3. So just how, the sequence of how they were built. Quarterly tenant meeting is April 23rd. Mason Avenue is really rocking and rolling. The interior work continues, drywall, electrical. Cabinets and that one. So they're moving right along, and certainly it's gonna happen, will be completed in the school year as we're set up to be. And Commissioner O'Donnell, we will look, once this is completed, we're gonna look at Harmony Road property that we have. Next is the board meeting. As you know, we announced it. You see, Ross Mayan of the town manager's office will be demonstrating and recording when utilizing the OWL device. That's a device on the table. It's on a trial basis, and so we'll see from him next week, you know, what it does and how it's recorded at all. And then I'll bring it before the board, and the board can decide how they want to proceed. Next is, I earlier had mentioned about the donation from the Gaudette family in memory of Maureen. What we've talked about some residents, but principally with Debbie Rizzo, she was involved with the first donation. And what we're looking at, this is not etched in granite because things change as we talk about the scope of the work. But you know, it's hard to believe as I get older, not old, I seem to have some difficulty hearing, and I'm sure there are some other folks here. We had someone tonight say that they had some difficulty hearing. A few years ago, we used to show movies, and it was very difficult for me to hear the movies. So what we're looking at here is a sound system at 16 River Street for board meetings and activities. And what's being thought of, again, this is just all being looked at the moment, is there'd be wireless microphones in front of the board members where a red light is hot. Push the button, green light to speak. When you finish speaking, you push the button and the red light's back on, so it doesn't, it's not a hot mic. And we would also have a mic here, and we would have a mic here on a stand, and a mic after Barbara Shelley there on a stand, so that people want to talk, they can come up to the microphone and talk. Most likely, because of the size of the room, there'll be a speaker or speakers. I don't know yet what their analysis will show, that will be here so that people can hear. And also with that, is a new TV. This TV is, it's a smart TV, but a smart TV with the technology, there's a great deal of changes. It's at an angle, there's no ceiling, so it would be a TV in the corner like that, which is bigger. We're looking at a bigger TV. Also what would happen, obviously, it would be tied into the microphone, into the sound system. we're investigating the cost to have, earphones, so if someone, let's say I said I had a hearing impairment, I could, for the meeting, take a set of earphones and put them on, and I would hear the meeting. So we're trying to accommodate those that have hearing issues, and trying to upgrade everything, for that. Across the street at 13 River Street, there'll be some changes there, it's a good sized room. They're investigating having a speaker there, and, some way maybe to tap in if needed, if there was some entertainment here. And by the way, the entertainment here could access if needed into the system. Most of the time, if they come to acoustic guitar, they have their own amplification. But anyway, the difference across the street is where the TV is, across the street is on a wall like this. It's an old TV, it's a small TV, a lot of wires there, there's a DVD, there's a player. Data, videotape and DVD that doesn't work. DVD player there. What we're thinking of going there is a pull down screen. And the TV will be projected on the ceiling. Right onto that. On old, show, it's high definition, it's not like the old shit projector that, look terrible. And we're gonna investigate, a speaker if it's needed, whereabouts. And so that technically wouldn't be a TV. You'd be able to watch TV, but it'd be through the projection system. And both places, someone with a laptop would be able to plug in and project. Talbot is unique on its own. It's a small room. The audiovisual engineer, absolutely no amplification is needed in there. You'd probably blow the windows out and blow people out. The TV there is located above a door, going into another room. It was located there by the tenants wanted it there. So that limits the replacement of that TV. It can't really be much larger than what it is because of the ceiling and the door. So we're gonna think about that. But what we're thinking about is, worst case, we get another more up-to-date smart TV that's the same size. Or the TV gets relocated in that room to maybe a corner. I haven't gone down that road, talked to tenants, Debbie hasn't, so we'll see. The sum and substance, making the long story short, is that's what we're looking at. And the TVs are all gonna be made possible through the donation of Maureen's, Gardette Argy's family. So I think it's a great benefit, for the residents, a great benefit, the Gardette family knows that their funds were put to use for the benefit. Once it's kind of settled, once it's, we get a final proposal, I'll update the board as to what we're doing on it. We did have it in the budget, some funds in the budget. So I think it can all be done, what I've described to you. But we'll see where it goes from the scope of the work to the actual final quote. And, I will let you know where we're proceeding and how we're proceeding.
Sure, that's great. In the world of equitable access is where we're entering now,
I
right?
just want to remind people, training.
Okay,
What about G?
Huh?
You have G. That was F, right? G after that. Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
What do you read?
He said,
I'm looking at my paper here and it says G, HUD management and operation review.
Oh, yeah.
if you heard the
Page
last
2.
one, you heard about
Oh, I'm sorry.
oh, I named the operation.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I'm in my own world. Mass housing. Real quick, if you all recall, we have what's called the Management and Operations Review, MOR, conducted for the Talbot and 13 River Street by DHCD, they're now known as Executive Housing and Livable Communities. Here it's a HUD federal subsidized property. And for a number of years, HUD contracted out the management review of this property to DHCD because HUD did not have the staff or the bandwidth to do it. I think they paid DHCD about $140,000 a year. And what that meant, they'd come in, they'd go through our policies, procedures, the books, the folder of selected residents to make sure that all the paperwork was in order, we followed the right procedures. And so when HUD dismissed DHCD, they brought in Mass Housing. And so this is the management operation review on Thursday, the 18th. It'll be conducted by Mass Housing. I have no experience with Mass Housing on one of these. You knew with DHCD when they came in, you know, they were focused on certain issues in an apartment, you know, just stuff hanging on the door, the pull cords. The federal lease here that everyone signed has got a couple of pages on apartments and what they expect for the apartment, so. That we provide to everybody, I have no idea what their focus will be, it's a learning experience for us. When they come in, they'll sit here and they'll randomly select the number of apartments. What we will then do is, Berlin or Debbie or Erica will be given that list and they'll call those apartments to say we're coming out. So there's a high probability you won't get selected out of 80 apartments and take even 10. You know, it's, you know, I think they're hovering around 5, you know. So that's what it's all about. There's a lot of other stuff that we had to prepare, data, that, you know, vacancies over the past year, EIV reports, it's the, reports for all the residents, things that we check on, and the folders. These reviews of the cards of these folders getting thicker and thicker. It's because they mandate that you have to have this form and that form, and it's, one last sentence, I know you pressed the time, is that we were cited a couple of years ago because, maybe you could correct me, Debbie, I think they wanted us to start. Is it 90 days before or 60? Recall?
I think 90.
I'm sorry?
90.
90. So they required us 90 days before the rents to be effective, the change and the redetermination, to start the process. Because these things have been getting so thicker and thicker with forms and everything, that year, we sent the stuff out more, I don't know, 120 days. Or when the inspector was here, they cited us there. And I said, what's wrong? He said, you didn't comply with the regulation. Well, we did, we sent it out, these people, some people are disabled, some people are, you know, I mean, it's a lot of stuff. No, we got cited for it because we didn't comply with the regulation of 90 days, not 120, the guy said it's 90 days, so I mean, that's what you deal with, and you have to say it's not a hill you're gonna die on, just move on.
Well, everybody has.
So I have no idea, we'll see afterwards where it goes. I know we have a great staff, we follow the rules and regulations, and, you know, we don't get cited, we do it. We've always had positive comments for all the properties, and, you know, we have a good maintenance staff, good support staff, so, you know, if they find something, it's not gonna be rich shattering. Someone is, you know, stealing $1 million and going.
We're not gonna go to jail.
I'm sorry,
We're
no,
not going to jail.
that's it, I'm sorry.
Did that answer your question, Jim?
Yes, thank
Okay.
you very much.
All right, I just wanna
Thank you.
remind everyone that our next meeting will be May 9th, and the following meeting will be June 13th.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn whenever there's a chance.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second. All those in favor of adjourn. Hope to see everyone on May 9th.